The legendary master Thích and the spiritual serpents, a must-read story. In 1992, 3 days after the funeral of the venerable Master Thích, the revered author of the famous 10 Essential Points of Buddha recitation, his grave was opened for ceremonial purposes. Witnesses were astonished to see a pair of magnificent golden snakes, each about 2 meters long, slithering up to the head of his grave. They paused, raised their heads toward Venerable Nun Thang Wit, his chief disciple, and respectfully nodded 3 times. Photographs and video footage captured this extraordinary event. The backstory behind it is even more mysterious and fascinating. Master Thích, born in 1924, was the founding director of Huệ Nghiêm Buddhist College. At the time, the now renowned Zen master Thích Thanh Tu served as his assistant. Notably, Master Thích was also the one who transliterated the Great Compassion Mantra into Vietnamese, a version widely used today. Around 1968, Master retreated into the deep forests of Lam Dong province for solitary practice. The area was remote, dense with rivers, streams, and teeming with snakes of all kinds. During his first 6 months there, he encountered countless venomous snakes, some as thick as a house pillar, others as small as an arm. Sometimes after working in the garden, he would return to find a snake dangling from the doorframe, mouth agape, tongue flickering, hissing ominously. At first, fear gripped him, but realizing that attacking or trying to drive them away would only foster animosity, he chose instead to calmly recite Amitabha Buddha's name and practice loving-kindness meditation as he walked right through, eyes closed, completely surrendering to faith. Sometimes the snakes would brush against his face and neck with their cold, scaly bodies, but he remained composed. When he dared to open his eyes again, the snakes had simply slithered away. One early morning, stepping off his small bed, he felt something soft and round beneath his foot. Looking down, he realized he had stepped directly onto a thick, coiled black cobra. Startled but mindful, he froze and softly recited Amitabha Buddha 5 or 6 times. Surprisingly, the cobra, though disturbed, merely lifted its head, flicked its tongue a few times, then curled back into a resting position without aggression. Gently, Master opened the door and told the snake, "It is morning now, dear friend. Perhaps you should return to the forest." Amazingly, the snake seemed to understand and peacefully slithered away. Another time, after late-night chanting, he accidentally stepped onto another giant snake by the stairs. Calmly chanting, he moved to the desk, turned on the light, and found a massive serpent coiled peacefully near his sandals. He asked aloud, "Dear friend, have you come to listen to Dharma and Buddha's name?" The snake responded by nodding 3 times. From then on, Master and these long, slithering friends coexisted harmoniously. Whenever he encountered them while gardening, he would simply chant a few lines of Buddha's name, and they would each go about their business without disturbance. Realizing that these spiritual snakes were drawn to the Dharma, Master eventually performed Yogacara food offerings, dedicating his chanting merits to them. He gently instructed through mental intent that if they wished to listen, they should stay outside and no longer enter his meditation hut. And from then on, no snake ever entered his retreat again. Unknown to him initially, his hut, Phuonglin Hermitage, was built directly atop a giant termite mound, often used by snakes for shelter. Beneath the floor, a massive underground snake den thrived. Yet, no harm ever came to him because every evening, as he chanted, the snakes lay silently beneath, listening and absorbing the Dharma. These snakes, through leaning on the Master's pure practices, gradually became spiritually awakened. Grateful, they revered Master as a spiritual father and silently guarded him. One unforgettable incident. While gardening, Master once reached behind him to grab his hoe, but instead grabbed the thick, cold neck of a huge black and gold striped snake. Startled, he quickly released it, chanted fervently, and politely told the snake to leave. The snake nodded yes, nodded several times before disappearing behind the termite mound. Later that night, an even more incredible event occurred. Near 4 a.m., Master heard a knock at his door. Expecting local villagers asking for farm work, He opened it and found two unfamiliar indigenous people, a man and a woman, in their 50s, wearing rough indigo clothes, barefoot, their skin oddly scaled. They bowed respectfully and chanted Namo Amitabha Buddha. Curious, Master asked why they had come so early. The man replied, "Venerable Master, we have come to apologize. Earlier today, our grandchild startled you while you were gardening. Please forgive us." Puzzled, Master asked, "Your grandchild? I do not recall seeing any child today. How old is he?" The woman answered solemnly, "Our grandson is 95 years old." Startled, Master further inquired, "How old are you two then?" The man replied, "I am 842 years old, and my wife is 760. At that moment, Master realized they weren't human. They were serpent spirits who had cultivated spiritual powers able to manifest in human form. They revealed they came from Huinsa village, about 9 kilometers east of Fuan, home to nearly 1,000 serpent beings. Before the man could reveal more, his wife signaled him to stop, fearing they might disclose too much. Master kindly dismissed them, telling them there was no offense, and watched them leave. As they departed behind the hermitage, they transformed into 2 glowing golden lights and vanished into the eastern sky. Master thus understood the child who startled him earlier, the black snake with gold stripes, was their grandchild. Later, another highly accomplished Taoist monk, known only as the Ma Kai monk, who practiced soul-traveling meditation, visited Master. Upon sleeping there, he confirmed through astral travel that beneath the hermitage lay a massive underground kingdom of hundreds of ancient serpent spirits, many hundreds of years old, ruled by a pair of serpent kings over 1,000 years old. Touched by Master's purity and chanting, the serpent beings asked to formally take refuge in the 3 jewels, which are Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Master conducted a full ceremony, transmitting the vows, chanting blessings, and dedicating merits to them. From then on, these serpent beings regularly appeared in their luminous forms, clad in golden monastic robes, silently circumambulating the hermitage each night, chanting Buddha's name and protecting their beloved teacher. Master's final days. On December 13, 1992, sensing his time had come, Master calmly instructed his disciples to gather and assist with recitation. He washed, donned his ceremonial robes, seated himself in meditation posture, formed the Amitabha Samadhi Mudra, and began reciting the Buddha's name. At 6:15 a.m., after reciting a final verse affirming his joyous return to the Pure Land, Master softly said, "I am leaving now. Please take good care of yourselves." He gently closed his eyes, dropped his prayer beads, and passed away, peaceful, smiling, seated upright in full meditation posture. Even hours later, his body remained warm, supple, his skin radiant and fresh, his head still burning with warmth, a classic sign of auspicious rebirth. Master Thích Thiền Tum lived 68 years in this world and devoted 48 years to the monastic path, leaving behind a sacred relic, a 5-colored Vajra tooth, hard as diamond. 3 days later, December 21st, 1992. During the grave opening ceremony of the Great Master, all those present witnessed an astonishing sight. A pair of dazzling golden snakes, each about 2 meters long, slithered up to the head of the Master's grave. They paused for a moment, then lifted their heads to gaze at Venerable Nun Thangwit, the Master's chief disciple, and respectfully nodded 3 times before gracefully disappearing into a nearby patch of tall grass. The images of this extraordinary event were fully documented, captured in both photographs and video recordings. Upasika Baodang. Excerpt from Dharma site.